husband was reading the texts from my affair while I was taking a shower. When I opened the door, "Hey there, the mini community of Reddit. My name is Katrina, 33 and married to Neville, 37 for 4 years. I am here to share how my husband came to know about my affair and what he did after that. I am not here for people to judge my actions and tell me that I deserved it because I was the one who cheated. To start off, I met Neville when I was in the middle of changing jobs. He was the one who interviewed and rejected me for one of the jobs I had applied for. I was already pissed off at him and was sitting in the food court thinking about my next interview when he walked towards me and offered me a coffee. I thought that he was trying to rub it in my face that I was not good enough for the position that I had applied, but he helped me with tips on how I should give my next interview. I found that to be sweet and kind. With his help, I was able to get a job at a different place and started working. I was so dumb that I didn't even ask for his number to thank him for his help. Looking back, I realized that his gesture was not meant to belittle me, but rather to offer support and guidance. It's a shame that I didn't have his number to call and express my gratitude. I didn't have to wait too long as I met him at one of a corporate event for companies around the city. It was a 2-day event where they organized games and activities for people from the same profession to get to know each other. I spent a lot of time catching up with Neville and thanking him for his insights, which helped me get a job. I also took the opportunity to apologize for not staying in touch and express my regret for not acknowledging his guidance earlier. Neville was gracious and understanding, assuring me that he was happy to see my success and that he understood how busy life can get. We exchanged contact information and made a promise to stay connected moving forward. We started talking and very soon we fell in love. Maybe it was because we could relate to our work that pulled us towards each other. Within a span of 8 months, we decided to get married. We did not have time for our honeymoon, so we decided to have it during our Christmas break. We were both busy with our jobs, and it was not a big deal to go on a honeymoon immediately after getting married. Neville was promoted 2 years after we were married. After his promotion, Neville had become like a completely different person. He was so obsessed with work that he hardly spent time at home. When he was home, he barely slept and was on his laptop continuously typing at a non-human speed and kept yelling at his associates. It was freaking me the hell out. I told him that he was dangerously obsessed with his job and it was becoming addictive. We started having fights around his work as it had now slowly crawled into the bedroom. Neville's obsession with work not only affected our relationship, but also his physical and mental health. It was clear that his job had taken complete control over his life, leaving little room for anything else. I became increasingly concerned about the toll it was taking on him and our relationship. I did not know what to do and started distancing myself from Neville. I was not even interested in having a conversation with him anymore. One of the guys at my office had always had a crush on me and would always try to make a pass at me. I was so frustrated with life that I decided to accept his advances since I started feeling as if I live alone and am not even married. I did not try to ignore him and gave him a smile as I passed him. However, deep down, I knew that using someone else to fill the void in my relationship with Neville was not the solution. As much as I craved attention and companionship, I needed to confront my feelings and address the issues within my relationship before making any impulsive decisions. The affair between me and Jack has been going strong for the past 1 year. I never had so much fun in my life after getting married. It felt as if I had wasted 4 years of my life with Neville. All I could find in the last 4 years was boring conversations about work and economics with little to no fun. We never went out to parties or to get together or even on dates. I was living a very sad life before I met Jack. But with Jack, everything changed. He brought excitement and adventure back into my life. We would go on spontaneous road trips, try new restaurants, and dance the night away at clubs. It was like a breath of fresh air after suffocating in a dull and monotonous marriage. I finally felt alive again, experiencing joy and laughter that had been absent for far too long. Recently, I noticed that Neville had suddenly been trying to make time for me and make time to have conversations with me. I was surprised as to this sudden change in his behavior. I did not know what got into him recently. He asked me if we could go out on a date on the weekend. Of course, I had plans with Jack, but I wasn't going to let him know about it. I agreed to go on a date with Neville as I did not want him to be suspicious of me and Jack. After the date, Neville started making plans of where we could go out on a holiday and spend some time alone with each other. It was getting difficult for me and Jack to spend time with each other, as I was being occupied by Neville almost every weekend. Jack and I decided to meet in the middle of the week in case Neville made plans for the weekend. I texted Neville that I had a meeting outside of the city as I didn't want to talk to him. He had gotten very clingy and annoying. I booked the hotel far from the city to make sure that we did not cross paths with Neville or anyone we knew. We made sure that we drove in separate cars just in case we got spotted by someone. We spent the entire day together lazing around and making love to each other. It had been so long that we did not get to see each other privately. I came home after spending my day with Jack. To my surprise, Neville was already home and was waiting for me. I told him that I was so tired that I would like to have a leisurely shower to help me relax after such a tiring day. He smiled at me and told me that I looked very stressed and deserved to pamper myself. I kissed him and went into the bathroom to enjoy my shower. When I came out, I saw him with my phone reading something very intently. I came closer and noticed that he was reading the chat between me and Jack. I was shocked to see how he was even able to get into my phone. I was pretty sure that I changed the password and was positive that it was impossible for him to crack it. I knew that he had his doubts about me cheating, so I was taking extra care of being cautious. And Neville looked at me and gave me a smile, telling me that he has never read such passionate messages being exchanged between two people ever. He said that he could clearly see the passion and desire for each other flowing through the conversations. I couldn't make out if he was being sarcastic or truthful about it. He did not look surprised or upset about the chats or the fact that I was cheating on him. I wasn't sure if he already knew about it, and that was the reason he was trying to be nice to me, just to check if his speculations were right, or he was just trying to accuse me of something without any proof. I was still in my bathrobe, so I decided to sway him by seducing him with my body and see if it works. He looked at me with an expression which could easily be translated to, "Are you being serious right now?" He told me that he understood why I did what I did. He agreed that he did not fulfill his duties as a husband, and that was the reason why I had to take this step to find a guy outside of marriage. I was surprised by the amount of composure he was maintaining while having this conversation, because in my head I definitely did not imagine it to go this way when Neville would come to know about my affair. It was a welcome change, and I was very glad that he was not screaming at the top of his lungs accusing me for what I did. He told me that he was not angry or upset and wanted me to take my own sweet time to get ready. He also told me that he had no problem with me continuing my affair with Jack, as he knew that he was the one at fault and it would not be right on my part to ditch Jack just because Neville has now made himself available for me. Oh my God, where was this guy? I mean, if I knew that Neville would be so understanding about this situation and completely take the blame for being unavailable, then I would have had an affair earlier and not have lived so miserably like I did. I thanked Neville for being so understanding and told him that he would not regret being married to me, as tonight would be the best nights of our lives. I went into my vanity to search for my best lingerie to make sure that tonight would be the perfect night of lovemaking for me and Neville. As I was getting ready, the thought of Neville having my phone did cross my mind. But I shut it out because he was already aware of the affair, and the way he reacted did not seem like it really bothered him reading intimate messages between me and Jack. I left him to it, and somewhere I also had a naughty thought that maybe reading those messages might give him a few ideas about how to have some fun. I was giggling and laughing to myself, unaware of the events happening outside of the vanity room. It took me a good 40 minutes to make sure that I looked perfect. When I walked into the room, it was all dark, so I just assumed that Neville wanted to try something romantic. As I kept calling out his name, I couldn't hear the reply, so I grabbed the lights and noticed that Neville was nowhere to be seen. My phone kept buzzing continuously, and there were notifications from everybody at work, so I decided to check what the big deal was all about. I went onto my office application and saw people gossiping and commenting about someone's personal life. I decided to ignore it, as I knew the people in my office had no work but to keep commenting on unnecessary and illogical things. I saw that I had a few messages from Jack as well, but I decided that I would read them later and look for Neville. I searched the entire house but couldn't find him anywhere. I assumed that he might have gone out to get a few condoms. Since I had a little free time, I decided to respond to Jack and let them know that Neville will have no problems with our affair going forward. Maybe I could even call him home a few times. As I read Jack's messages, the blood drained from my face. He was literally abusing me in his messages and asking me why I would post pictures of him and me on the office forum. He said that not only pictures, I had also posted chats where we were discussing the same people from our office and calling them names. I could not believe him and kept free reading his messages over and over. I quickly went to the office forum and started scrolling to check for myself, and there it was. A clear picture of me and Jack smiling and naked, and below that there were chats mentioning our colleagues and all the nasty things that we discussed about. I needed to know that Neville, who tried to act all calm and made sure that I was busy so that he could post all of this and keep me occupied so that I would not respond to it immediately. He was such a cunning man. I am sitting in my room still wearing my bathrobe and writing this as I'm not very sure what to do. Jack would not take my calls and he blocked me after I kept calling him to explain what had happened. Neville just took off without a single word after creating all this mess for me to clear up. I understand that me having an affair was something that I did wrong, but what Neville did was equally wrong. So I turned to you people from Reddit to help me with any suggestions on how I can come out of this situation. Please let me know how to deal with all the shame that I will have to face, since everybody in my office already knows about my affair and what I think about them. I am truly thankful to everyone who has been a part of this journey with me. I know that this is not the end and the struggle has just begun. I will make sure to keep you guys posted on this when I am able to so that you guys know what happens to me after all this. Thank you for taking the time to read. Update. Thank you all the people for sharing their advice and giving me suggestions as to how to go forward with the situation I am in. I'm very happy for all of you for not judging me and blaming me for my actions and giving me genuine advice. To start from where we had left off, after my affair was revealed on the office forum, I did not have much of a choice, so I decided to lie low for a while till the topic died down and then go to office. I had to call my manager asking for a leave, and I could see that he was visibly unhappy about granting me a week away from work. He tried to ask me about the pictures and the chats, but before he could, I hung up. I tried calling Neville, as I at least wanted a confrontation from his end. It kept going to voicemail, which made me more and more frustrated about the situation I was in. Of course, none of my colleagues wanted to have anything to do with me, so they maintained their distance, which was understandable. I'm pretty sure I would have done the same if something like this happened to someone I knew at work. After a week of lazing around at home, trying to get in touch with either Never or Jack, and being unsuccessful, I decided that I could not hide in my house forever. I finally decided to go to work and wore the most subtle clothes that I could find and made my way into the lobby. I was aware of all the unrequired glances and whispers thrown my way, but I knew that there was no point in thinking about all this, so I put my head down and started walking straight towards my seat. One of my colleagues came up to me and asked me if it was true. I was taken aback by these upfront acquisitions, so I blurted out the first thought that came in. I told her that of course there were fake pictures probably created by some stupid application. So she then asked me what I was doing on that application, making naked pictures off me and Jack. I forgot that all of this was posted from my phone. That would still not explain the chats. I realized that I was being too stupid trying to cover it up, as there was no way people would believe that all of this was fake or that my phone was hacked. I was called in by my manager and asked me to resign graciously or they would have to kick me out. Since it was a question of the reputation of the firm, I was forced to resign, and just like that, I became jobless. I was furious when I drove home. Now I had no husband, no affair, no friends, and no job. What more could possibly go wrong in my life? I wish I hadn't said it out loud. As I was parking my car, I saw that the front yard was all messed up. I quickly ran inside as the door was wide open. There was a strong smell so bad that I could hardly breathe. I could see that was some weird black substance coated on all the walls. I couldn't make out what it was, but it smelled horrible. I picked up a baseball bat just to be careful in case there was someone still inside. I held my breath and slowly made my way towards the bedroom. I didn't know if it was the smell or the room, but it was much more disgusting. The walls were, of course, horrible, but the bed was filled with poop. There was a message written with that black substance on the mirror which said, "Happy cleaning." I instantly knew that it was Neville. I hoped that he would have left the bathroom alone, but of course not. This had something else, and it was of a different color and smelled very funny. So now I don't even have a place to go to the washroom. Great, my life has been on a roller coaster ride for the last 2 weeks. I decided that I should start cleaning the bathroom since I needed some place to relieve myself. I knew that calling the cleaners would cost me a fortune, and I just became jobless 2 hours ago. As I started cleaning, my eyes started getting irritated, and I felt itching all over my body. I decided to ignore it and continue, but after another 10 minutes, I just couldn't control scratching myself. I decided to take a break, but I just couldn't stop my tears, and I noticed there were rashes all over my hands and legs. I tried to check my face and remove any pus right off, and maybe I passed out as I don't remember anything after that. I woke up in a hospital bed and was told that I would have to stay there for another 2 weeks till they monitor my condition. They told me that I was exposed to toxins, which led to a severe skin allergy. If the neighbors wouldn't have complained about the smell, I would have probably died in my house. Well, it was good to have nosy neighbors once in a while. I was discharged, and it took me almost a month to recover from the allergic reaction on my skin. I was still on medication, and my skin was still noticeably gross to look at. In hindsight, I kept wondering if I should have taken a picture of the mirror to file a lawsuit against Neville for trying to kill me. I went home to a shabby-looking place and decided to leave after packing up my things. I opened the wardrobe and saw that there was nothing in there except my clothes. I did not have the time or energy to deal with it, so I just picked up my clothes and took off. I didn't know where to go, but I knew that it had to be somewhere far where Neville wouldn't be able to find me. I was certain that he was trying to kill me for cheating on him. I started my car and drove off without a destination in mind, and once I was out of the city and realized that it was safe now to make a stop. I stayed at the motel on the highway and changed my clothes to go out to eat something. I was sneezing every 2 seconds. It was a little concerning, but maybe because I was in the hospital for too long. Now that I was just breathing all the polluted air and out in that open, which was causing me to sneeze. I went to a diner nearby and ordered myself a sandwich. My sneezes were growing out of control, and everybody kept staring at me. Awkward. I decided to take the sandwich and leave, but before I could do that, I couldn't breathe and I fell unconscious. This was the second time I was waking up in a hospital within a month without knowing what had happened. I was told that the clothes I was wearing had cat fur on them, which I was allergic to. It took them almost 2 weeks to figure out what it was. Since I was previously admitted for an allergy, it would be more difficult for me to recover from this. There was only one person who would have known about my allergy to cats and also have access to my clothes. I was scared to death, to say the least. Neville was trying to use everything he knew about me against me. It was scary just to think about it. I decided to write a long, heartfelt email to Neville to apologize and ask him to stop as I got his message. I would never do anything to betray him and stay away from his life if he would promise me that he would leave me alone. I just hoped that he would stop now and let me live in peace. I dozed off, and when I woke up, the nurse told me that there was someone who came to visit. They left me flowers and a letter. I was too scared to even touch them, as they could be something I should be wary of. I held the letter with the tissue and sanitized it before I even touched it. It read, "I accept your apology and I hope you get well soon." I breathed a sigh of relief as I knew that it was over now. I am still in the hospital, recovering. I'm writing this update because I am bored and also to let you guys know about everything that happened after Neville left me. I know it was one hell of a ride, but it's all over now. I have learned not to mess with the silent ones, as they make your life threateningly dangerous. I don't want to work things out and would never or even try to live in the same house with him. Once I get out of the hospital, I'm probably changing cities and staying as far away from Neville as possible. Thank you all for being such good people and being there for me. I hope you learned something from my story and make wise decisions.